What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Soundstage here with Kyle, presented by NLFX. So excited to have the one and only Jessica McKelvey here. Jessica, how you doing today?
I'm great. I'm doing good because I'm here with you right now, Kyle. Thanks for asking me to be on.
Of course, we love getting all sorts of different perspectives on there. And one thing that I noticed we weren't having enough of, we've had a couple of females on before, but you guys are out there killing it. And so I wanted to make sure that we got you guys on and we're talking to you about everything that's going on. So let's just dive right into it. So Jessica, how did you get involved and started in your DJ career?
Oh, my DJ career. You know who it was? It was a guy named Obi Trice.
Oh, not
Do you know
wow.
do you know who Obi Trice is?
I do. Yeah.
So listen, it's not like I don't like know him or anything. I'm just like kind of making a joke about it. But it was in college. I went to Edinburgh, which is in the northern part of Pennsylvania. I'm in Pittsburgh personally.
Sure.
And there was like one bar that was the dance club. And the DJ was my sorority sister, and I was requesting. It's the year that Got Some Teeth dropped his album, and I had bought it, and I was like, oh, I freaking love this. So I was requesting a lot of Obi Trice. So that's why I
Okay.
say thank you, Obi Trice, for dropping the album
Absolutely.
that made
Yeah.
me request music. But anyways, long story short, she was my sorority sister. I made a lot of great requests, and she said, hey, Jess, you should be a DJ. And I was like, oh shit, let's go. So that's how I started, was just kind of understanding that it was a possibility and then stepping into that DJ booth, and I never wanted to step out.
Yeah. So did you always have a real passion for music? Is it something that started when you were young or just kind of kicked off when you were in college, or how'd that go for you?
Yeah, you know it. I feel like a lot of us that are DJs, it's always been there, right? Like we were always the one
Yeah.
that was like, you need to put this song on in the car, or the
Yeah.
one that was making, the mixed CDs, depending on how old you are, or the playlist. Yeah, so it's
Oh, yeah.
always been there. I grew up in a musical family. My dad was in a wedding band.
Okay.
So,
Am I right that they made an actual video? Isn't it called The Wedding Singer? Is that was that his
my
origin
dad.
story?
That's my
Yeah.
dad.
Nice.
No, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
Yeah, but there was always music around, always equipment around,
Right.
always a heavy focus on music. But I truly believe that was passed down to me, because
Yeah.
my brother's also a musician too. So I think always having it around, having it as part of my DNA, it looked different when I was younger. It was me creating dance moves to music, to like Paul Abdul, and entering dance contests that I failed
Wow.
miserably at. But yeah,
Mimicking Paul Abdul. That's a bold choice as a child. She's pretty
there's
good.
no boundaries when you're little. You don't know
Absolutely not.
how to compare yourself to somebody, so you just go for
For
Paul
sure.
Abdul.
Absolutely
Uh,
swinging for the fences. I love it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's always been there in different forms, from dance to violin to mixtapes, to having my own band, like that kind of stuff, man.
That's awesome. You know, so many people that I've talked to on here, they have that same origin story. Like, oh yeah, my whole family listened to music all the time. It was always a big musical family. We all did this. We all did this. I'm kind of the black sheep in my family. Like other
Right.
people in my family like music, but it wasn't like, hey, we're gonna listen to music all the time. My mom didn't play in anything. My dad didn't play in anything. It
Mhm.
wasn't instruments being played all the time. For some, it just got into me really young. Like,
Yeah. How so?
like I had the New Kids on the Block tapes and all that kind of stuff that my sister handed down when I was, and I just got into, oh hey, I really like playing this. I like listening to this.
Mhm.
Um, I hope that every musician does and things like that. So, do you get that feeling when you hear that right song, when it hits the bridge, when it hits the thing, and it just washes over you?
Bro, there's music on all the time, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
The best is when the goosebumps hit, and I never really like tapped into that before, but most recently, I've been paying attention to my nervous system and just really trying to keep that in check. And so when those goosebumps hit, I stop and I just like feel it, like
Yeah,
just tap
just
into
let
it.
it.
Oh yeah. Music is, I mean, I can't not have music. I feel anxious if it's quiet. It's hard for me to settle.
That's absolutely true, and I feel kind of dumb in
What? Don't
that.
say that. Stop
Well,
it.
no, no. What I mean by that is I didn't know until honestly all that long ago. I didn't know that didn't happen to everybody.
Is that for real? Do you feel like that was trolling? I saw that. Is that how do we test this shit? Am I allowed to
Well,
swear? Sorry.
so because and I actually did it on my daughter, who we always have music. The same thing. We have
Mhm.
home pods in every room. We're listening to music constantly. It's always on. We're always doing something. And I forget the song we were listening to, but it was just one of those like it was like a Greatest Showman, just yeah,
Mhm.
one of those
Mhm.
builds, and I'm just like, oh, can't you just feel that? And she's just like, what are you talking? Like, what do you mean? I was like, doesn't like the hair on the back of your neck and that feeling that goes up your spine? And she's like, I don't know. That
Okay,
never
I have a
happens to me.
question. I wonder if it's because she wasn't vibing with that track. Do you know if she likes that song in
Oh no,
particular?
it's one of
Okay.
the ones we listen to all the time.
Okay,
She
well then.
likes it,
Huh.
and I was like, what do you mean that like that never happens to you? She's like, no.
Interesting. See, my science
Well,
brain now wants to study the ages in like, if I think it hits in your entire life, right?
I
Like,
say, but I can't remember a time it didn't happen to me.
yeah, good point.
And I'm not gonna lie, I almost started crying because I'm just like, wait, you don't get to feel this?
Oh,
Like that I'm like, it's so core to who I am. And it
yeah.
just hits so hard. It's like, because my wife's the same, like she says the same thing. My wife is very musical. She was in show choir all the time.
Cool.
Loves to sing. She's a great singer.
Nice.
And
Right
like I
on.
said, we're music all the time. And she's like, no, I get that too. I was like, how did our daughter not get
Interesting.
that? Like,
Oh no. How do we
I
give her
know it.
that? Can you
I
like
know. I'm just like, I almost want to give it to her. Like,
like
it's just, man,
it?
I feel so bad. I hope that my other children get it because if none of them get it, I'm going to be just absolutely
Destroyed.
devastated.
Just
Yeah,
destroyed. Yeah. I need to
just
check in
like,
with my kids, man, to see if they get it. I never thought to check in because you're right. I forgot that not everybody gets it.
yeah,
Which is a disservice to humans who would do that.
I
Um,
know.
in the same realm, have you ever heard of sound healing or a sound bath before?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm very
So
intrigued now.
it's a type of self-care, and it's especially good, again, for your nervous system and your brain. So what it is basically is instruments being played while you relax. And you know how our bodies are made of water and sound it is absorbed by water, and it's just so it's not any instrument. I mean, while any
Yeah.
instrument is good for you and it's good for your nervous system, these are specifically like crystal bowls, right? Like these big bowls that are made out of quartz, or maybe it's the gongs and different like chimes and stuff. And they're all a certain frequency and a certain note, and each one of those notes does a different thing to your body. So you relax while somebody plays, and you go into what's called a theta state, which is the
Okay.
state that our brain goes into right before we fall asleep. It's where we reset, man.
Okay.
Yeah, sound healing, sound baths. Look into it.
Well,
I feel like it would be super high level for DJs as self-care.
I don't know if maybe I just hadn't heard of it that way, but we do like very similarly to that. I mean, it's that same kind of thing. Like, so we have found a station on Apple Music
Hmm.
that we have with our kids that we play every night in their rooms. It's called Pure Meditation.
It's similar, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it's kind of those instruments you're
The
talking about. It's
binaural,
kind of sing songy,
binaural.
very
Yeah.
yeah, very peaceful, very thing. And they
Yeah.
listen to it every night before they fall asleep.
I
That's
love
what
that.
they fall asleep to. And
Yeah.
so it kind of started because our daycare where we used to live, they played kind of that same kind of thing in the toddler
Hmm.
rooms
Hmm.
while they were trying to get the babies and stuff to fall asleep. And so they kind of got used to it
Oh,
and
cool.
like for taking
Nice.
naps and stuff. And then so we've just kind of found this playlist that's like 150 songs. So it's very rarely the
Yeah.
same thing all the time as they fall
Cool.
asleep. And then we just set a little timer on their thing and it turns off after like an hour and a half. And
I love that.
that they fall asleep to that every night. And
Yeah.
our oldest daughter doesn't do that anymore. She used to.
Yeah.
Um, and our son, who's just 9 months old, he's starting to like that to go to sleep to too. So
Cool.
so hopefully he gets the. I feel there's such a better way to the fizz. I hope he gets that too.
Yeah.
Obviously you want that for all your
Word.
kids, but
Sure. Sure. You gotta look into it. There's something about it when it's live, because then the vibrations are like actually able to like get in. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
So
yeah,
keep it on your list, man. I'll follow up with you.
absolutely for sure, absolutely. We'll keep
I had
that.
to
So
go. You had to go off on that tangent.
no, that's hey, totally fine. And like I said, trying to learn something new. Everybody who hasn't done that, get
Right.
on it. I'm going to get on that myself. So, so you're in college, you're doing this, and so do you mind like when was that? When did you kind of start getting into it?
Oh
What
yeah.
year?
Yeah. It was I was 21, so I think it was like 2003, 2004. And I made CDs from like
Mm-hmm.
LimeWire and BearShare, and God, it's so bad, but that's,
So
man,
how many computer viruses did you get?
I know, dude, that thing was done. It was so bad. The worst is whenever you download a track and like I would get it like right before I had to go to work, and then it would play, and it was one of those ones that was like they knew they were gonna screw you, and it went to those electronic sounds. Do you remember those? I don't know if you ever
Oh yeah,
downloaded illegally. It was like and you're like DJ, you're like shit, I'm fired.
yeah. It's yeah.
Yeah, that's just part of my story.
It was a dark time for all of
It
us.
was a very dark time, but it was
Yeah,
necessary. So I had
yeah,
a residency there. It was like every Wednesday night from 10 to 2. And then I stayed there throughout college at the Hotel Bar was the name of the place. And I kind of became like the head DJ. So I made the schedule and stuff and, picked up
yeah.
another night. And then I worked for another company called Zipper Down Productions, which like, I don't know why I didn't think about the crazy name. Like when I was working like Zipper Down Productions,
It's a
kind of
little
messed up,
different.
man. I know, right? The dude's nickname was Zipper, so I like didn't even think about it. But I worked for him at a couple bars in Erie, and then when I graduated, I wanted to be an event planner. I thought I was going to plan like the after party to the Grammys, like that was goals for me, dude. And I kept
Hey,
DJing
it's
on
a
the
heck of a
side.
goal.
I know, right? I just go for it.
That's all
I
right.
kept DJing on the side. I would use my dad's equipment and just step out and do gigs here and there, but that was the plan. And I had no clue that you could be a career DJ, like legit. Just didn't think it was even possible. I didn't know
Yeah,
anybody that was one. I didn't see
yeah,
that as a lucrative or sustainable career, or even a
yeah.
healthy
They never
career.
talked about it on career day.
No, where were they? They
No.
weren't there. Now they're there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah, and then I mean, there's a lot to it, but eventually in 2015 is when I went full time after having 2 kids. I was like, might as well start a business, and here we
Perfect
are. I
time.
would never look back. I know, right?
Yeah. No, but that's awesome. And I love it's so great to hear so many different people. Hey, I didn't realize I could make it. I didn't realize I could make such a good living, and I could
Mhm.
go out and do this and do the thing I'm crazy passionate about all
Right.
the time.
Mhm.
And I think that's really good, especially for people to hear. Like, if you really want to do it, you can do it.
Hell yeah.
And the other thing that's great about it is you can't do every event in Pittsburgh every weekend.
Yeah.
So there's room for other great DJs to be there.
Oh, for sure.
And and I try to think about that all the time. And one of the people that I was a bit of a mentor for a little while, um, he has and still does have a very successful DJ business. But unfortunately, his view on it is
Mhm.
his my gain is his loss.
He
As
plays
opposed to,
defense, not offense.
yeah, and I've said it on like before. He's the one who, if there is anybody within 150 miles of him selling DJ equipment, he'll
Mhm.
buy it just so nobody else does.
Interesting. Oh, that's a scarcity mindset. I want to meet him and
Yeah,
talk to him. I'm going to take him to a sound bath.
he needs it. And the crazy thing is, he is a genuinely very nice guy. He does
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. Like he does a lot of things for charities at no cost and all this stuff. Like he does great things.
Yeah.
He's not a bad DJ. He's
Yeah.
just so worried that somebody else is going to take his thunder
Yeah.
that's almost the only thing he can think about. And
That's
it's what eventually kind of pushed us apart is because like we were close, like just I don't know 30 miles apart or whatever.
Mhm.
Well, I started gaining traction and doing more high end stuff, and like he was seeing me as a threat and was like, "Oh, you should just come work for me." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, no, like just because then it'd be easier, and we can just then you can just book things under me." And it was like,
Yeah.
I mean, and I used to do stuff for him, like because like when I was like I said, he was a bit of a mentor when I was coming up and doing all that sort of thing. He would help me get gigs and be like, "Oh, hey, I have this extra one. Do you want?" Yeah,
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
I do stuff, but then I started, I built my own and I did my own thing, and he just couldn't. When I said no, he just didn't want anything to do with it anymore.
Do you ever try to talk to him about it or no? Like about
I've
that
tried.
mindset?
He's blocked me on about every single platform.
So he's not receptive, and he probably has a ball of anxiety wrapped around it. Yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to talk about it. So
yeah, there's definitely enough gigs for all of us. I mean, people are always going to have events. People are always going to get married. That's not going away, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is with us, man, you know, we're entertainers. It's a personality brand. I preach that all the time. Like, and you can't duplicate a human. Like, no one else is you. No one else is me. And that's what makes it so beautiful, right? Like, my wish for the DJ community is that we could all realize that, tap into that, surround yourself with similar energy, and just be inspired by each other.
Oh, 100%. Like,
yeah.
It is so much easier. As I mean, a matter of fact, right now I'm talking with another DJ who's close to me, who's like, "Hey, I got this thing. I'm booked up for this day with all my DJs. You know, are you happen to be open? You know."
Yep, exactly.
And so it's all collaborative. Like, there's no reason that, again, my gain has to be your loss.
No.
You know, if you go with the mindset of, hey, we can grow together, we can do these things together, we can have all this thing together, because that's going to come back to you, and that's going to make its way to you. And next time when I'm busy, hey, I know a guy who can really help you out.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Community over competition, man. I always say that too. Community over competition, right? And you might not be for that client, and that's okay. That's just how life works, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's been a couple times that, you know, I'm on the higher end of things, and people will contact me and be like, "Hey, you know, this is what I'm looking at. I really like you, but, you know, because you know, then they ask for the discount and things like that. Like, unfortunately, that's not where I'm at. But I know somebody right in that category. I'll get you with them. I trust these people. They're great. Go ahead with it."
I do the same thing.
I always try to go at it with, I hope you have a fantastic wedding, even if I'm not the DJ.
Exactly, man. We're a lot alike. Me too. I get why you reached out. Okay, cool. Because we haven't met before, have we? Have we met?
Yeah, we've met at a conference, very in passing. It wasn't a big, you know, wasn't a big to do or anything like that. Like, we haven't become BFFs like we are now, but but you know, it's just, I love getting more perspectives on everything, and whether it's the East Coast, West Coast, because you guys do a lot of things different than we do here in the central states, out there on the weird East Coast that you guys do. But it's just fantastic to hear and go about. So
cool. I'm here to share, even though you called my coast weird. I thought we were best friends, Kyle. What the hell, man?
We are. The only reason I say it's weird is because, again, we do everything that you guys do, just 2.5 or 3 years later.
Oh, yeah. Yep, takes a minute, and that's how we are with like New York and stuff, and New Jersey. Yeah, Pittsburgh is still behind for sure, but then yeah, I noticed that when I lived in New York City to do my internship for that event planning dream that I had. I came home wearing the boots over the jeans, and I don't know if you remember that trend. That was like maybe 20 years ago.
I do.
And everyone's like, "What the hell are you doing, Jess? That looks dumb." I'm like, guys, I just came from New York. People are doing it.
You don't even know. Okay.
Yeah, so I feel you on that. And then it probably hit you like 3 years later, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely that. I mean, social media, you know, TikTok, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, I feel is really making that go down, just because everybody can see everything.
True.
Right away.
Good point, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we're starting in 2015. You're going out on your own. So how, you know, what gave you the confidence to do that, first of all? And then secondly, like, how did those first few years go? How did everything get built up and all that?
Ooh, great question. Confidence. Gosh, you know, I think it was the passion. It was that I couldn't stop thinking about it. But where that thought process came from was working for another DJ company. I did link up with a company and worked for them for a while. And that's when it revealed itself to me that I could do this, right? So that gave me the confidence to know that it was sustainable, I think, was that constant work. But then the passion, it was just like, I got to keep going. I love this. I love this so much. And it's like, it was so easy. I never wanted to not show up for work. And that was always a
Yeah.
struggle for me. I had a lot of problems calling off and just not wanting to go into work. And I'm like, girl, I
Yeah.
know you're better than this, but I had to find my purpose. And I always said, like, I want to know, and I don't mean this in a cocky way. I mean this in a purposeful way. I need to know that if I'm not there, it can't run. Like, I want to feel like my purpose is great, right?
You
With
need to know
whatever.
your value.
Yes, exactly, man. And that's how
Yeah.
I felt with DJing. I'm like, okay, this lines up and I love it. I love the creativity. So I think that's what brought it in. And those first few years, holy crap, it was a blur. Obviously, because I had two kids that were 15 months apart. So, navigating that was difficult as far as working in the evenings a lot, working
Hmm.
when they were sleeping, but it was a lot of grinding, a lot of low budget events,
Yeah.
um, saying yes
Get
to
you started.
everything. Yeah, man. I mean, I've worked 10-hour weddings for $250, dude. And that gave me the flexibility to make mistakes, which is fine. Like not having the first dance song on a CD. Holy shit, that was not good. It worked out.
Yeah.
But
We
just a
always
lot of.
figure out a way.
You always do. Yeah, like the bride
Yeah.
has it on her CD. Like, thank you for that. So, a lot of saying yes, a lot of just, slowly increasing my price and networking and meeting people and just being a sponge.
Yeah. I think that last one is a big one. I think making sure
Huge.
that you're going out to
Mhm.
whatever kind of DJ show you like. If you like a small little intimate one, if you like big showy shows, all that sort of thing. I think the best thing that you can do is network.
Oh,
Um,
networking is so powerful, man. It's that stupid
yeah,
phrase, network. Your net worth is your network. I like it. I just wish I could find a better way to say it.
better way to
Um,
say it. Yeah,
I just want a
but
different way. Yeah.
but it really is like I can't tell you how many valuable relationships I've had just from going to Vegas 3 times a year to different conventions, and then going to
Mhm.
Milwaukee and Chicago and all
Mhm.
these different places, and just meeting these people who are like you, the like-minded. They want to make sure that this continues to grow. They want this industry to be better. They
Right.
want this industry to make sure that it grows in the way that we all want it to, because rising water rises all ships. And so if we bring up the quality of the lowest end, it's going to trickle up to the highest end too. So
I like that. I never heard that phrase before.
really,
Yeah, it makes sense,
okay.
man.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely, and I think that that's the best thing that we can do. A good friend of mine here around where I am, Jesse Swanson. He's been on the
Oh, I
podcast
know
before.
Jesse. I think I met him at the DJC, maybe or Midwest. I'm not sure which one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably Midwest. I don't know that he's been to DJC.
Okay. Okay.
But he was on this thing way before I was, and that's how we met. He used to
Yeah.
find kind of up and coming DJs on Facebook and just reach out and say, "Hey, my name's Jesse. I run Chaos Productions.
Mm-hmm.
Love to sit down and talk to you sometime,"
Yeah.
and just leave it at that.
Dude, I did
And
that
then
too. I forgot.
it
Yeah.
just kept growing into even more and more. And then he's the one who we decided, hey, you know what? Maybe we should start going to these DJ conferences, because we've kind of learned as much as we can from each other. What does somebody else have to say?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
he was a guy I met on Facebook, and we've just been great friends ever since. He's one of my best friends in the world. I was in his wedding last year.
I love
Like,
that.
it's just, and DJing's what brought us together.
Right.
And like you said, it's just growing that network and
Mm-hmm.
becoming better together, um,
Exactly.
is just such a great thing. So,
It is priceless.
so you're starting out in 2015. I have to ask, what kind of awesome DJ company name did you go with?
Oh, I've never talked about this on a podcast. Oh no.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a soundstage exclusive.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Pay very close attention.
Two names. The first one was Jezebel Productions. Jez, like Jez. Okay, listen. I know Jezebel was a biblical slut. Like, I know that. That's not what I'm talking about. My
I
middle name
gotcha.
is Adele. My first name is Jess. So
Yep.
Jezebel was what my mom called me. I was like, this is so cute, and then and then I'm like, shit, like this has like another meaning. I don't want people to interpret this,
Yeah.
production company
The
like
wrong
that.
way. Yeah.
Right. So then
Yep.
I changed it. I was really watching a lot of One Tree Hill, which is a show on the CW. I think it's meant for
Oh yeah.
teenagers.
Uh-huh.
But there was a girl who had a production company called Red Bedroom Records, and she's like my favorite, Hillary Burton. And I was like, I want to do something like that. So I grew up in a blue house. So I called it Blue House or was it Blue House Sound and Lighting? Because I didn't want to say DJ. Everyone says
Yeah.
DJ.
Yep.
Meanwhile, SEO, like, why did I do that? I should have just said DJ. So Blue House Sound and Lighting was the name of it for a while. And it's cute little, logo.
That's not bad.
But it's fine. And
Yeah, I don't
then,
hate it.
thank you. Okay, cool. I Blue House. And then I'm like, but it's me, Jess, like it's just me. So I ultimately DJ Jess, which I've gone back and forth. So it's DJ Jess McKelvey LLC. Ooh.
Yeah.
I've gone back and forth with like a dope DJ name or even just Jess McKelvey because you have like Jason Jana and like Brian Bonacici and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm freaking DJ Jess, like that's lame. And then you have like cool names, like Spider. And I was like, what should I do? Should I drop an S or like make up a name? It's DJ Jess. I'm here,
Yeah. There's and
what's
you know
your-
what? Sometimes I think we try to overthink it.
Dude, that's me. You just said hi. Have you met me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can attest to the terrible naming scheme. I mean, our first one that my buddy and I who started DJing in 6th grade together.
Oh, shut up.
We came out with a really sweet name. It was Silver Tongue DJ Services. Because, yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, you thought Blue House sound and lighting was bad.
Silver Tongue. What? Like,
Yeah.
so was it like inspired by Kiss? Like, what was that?
It was more. We saw the Rolling Stones album cover and thought, hey, that looks cool. And then we had heard something about silver tongue, and so we just adopted that, not knowing what having a silver tongue meant.
What does it mean?
Because we're in 7th grade.
Is it like it's out?
Yeah, so that quickly went away.
Your parents are like, I'm entering you into therapy.
Yeah, they're just like, why did you? What are you talking about? They're like, you're not that great of a person talking on the microphone. Why are you like? This doesn't make any sense.
Means silver tongue.
Yeah, like if you're very good at talking people into things, you're a great salesman, you have a silver tongue.
You're teaching me so much. The ships in the water and the silver tongue. One more.
That's
Thanks,
right. So we had that, and then obviously other terrible things that can go along with silver tongue DJ services. And then when I kind of went on my own, like I tried to come up with this elaborate name, like it was like Dietrich Custom DJ Services and this, like all these different things, and then it's just Dietrich Entertainment. It's just
there you go. That's it. You're here. That's who it is.
Yeah. Well, because so many people around me were productions and all this other kind of stuff, so I was like, I don't want to be that. I'll be something different. So
I get
I
that.
was entertainment, but
Nice.
whatever. It works. So you're going through, you're doing that, and so are you still solo? You said.
Yeah, I am.
Rocking her solo?
I am, and I have been kind of just handpicking DJs to fill in the gaps because the demand's here and I'm seeing it come through and I'm saying no and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to manage people. I just it's uncomfortable. I'm not saying I couldn't, but it's uncomfortable and I kind of stay away from things that are uncomfortable if I can. In this career, since we're the ones driving the ship, right? Absolutely. So I do have a few that I'll put through, and then what they do is they get the DJ Jess experience, like leading up to the wedding, which I've curated like a signature kind of experience. But then ultimately the talent that comes would be another DJ, and I base who I choose off of kindness. If I see somebody that's assisting me open the door for someone without being prompted, I'm like, all right, you can't teach kindness, you can teach skill, but you can't teach that. So I'll still be solo op, man, but I wouldn't mind kind of just trying to match people with clients, and it obviously helps with income.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm the same way. Like I thought for years, oh yeah, I need to build this up and get, 12, 14 DJs on, do all that sort of thing. But then I also realized how much of a control freak I am.
Exactly. Oh, that's what it comes down
I'm
to.
like, I can teach them how to do it, but if it's not their name on it, are they going to take the time to do it every single time the way I want it done? I don't know.
Hard to know how they're doing out. Yeah. Props to anyone that can manage people like that and trust, I just, maybe 3 people I'll work with. So we'll see what happens. I like just being myself, but I also know
Yeah.
that there's a lot of weddings I wish I could be at too, with great
Oh,
people.
100%. And
So
I think that what you said there is a really great thing. Like, hey, there's these few people I trust that can go out and represent
yeah.
me
Yeah,
for a couple events here and there. Not all the time,
exactly.
but
Exactly.
every once in a
That's
while if I
3 a
just can't do
year.
one.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. That feels good
Yeah,
for me right now, and we'll see if that changes.
for sure. Absolutely. So one question I really, really like asking people, because it's always fun to see what their experiences are. Is there something over the course of all the time that you've DJ'd, whether it be a wedding or a club or anything like that, a really awesome experience that really just sticks out in your mind and just like, wow, that's so awesome that I got to be a part of that, or wow, I can't believe I was there for that.
Mhm.
Anything like that?
Oh, yeah. It's I think it's gonna be the performance that I did at Mobile Beat, which was the original name of Mex, as we know.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
In 2018, I was chosen to perform in the Takeover, which it was at
Okay.
the Tropicana in the Havana Room. So at that point, I didn't know how to mix. I knew nothing about phrasing. So I think I posted online. I got connected with a guy out in Cali, DJ Pudgy, and he was like my Mr. Miyagi for that performance. And being on that stage, my hands shook the entire time. I practiced my ass off, man, like legit so many times, but they shook. I was like scared I was gonna like double click a track, whenever I was like
Yep.
going to, you know what I mean? But the feeling that I got after that performance and the feedback, nothing can ever replicate that. And I've chased it and I haven't gotten it
Yeah.
back. It was like, oh my God, this is where I want to be. I want more of this. I was sold, So it was that
Yeah.
performance in 2018 in the Havana Room. Flava, or not Flava Flav. Was that who was there? Yeah. Yeah. Flava Flav was there with Keith Shockley.
Wow.
Yeah, and they talked so much on the mic that Nate Nelson couldn't perform. It was kind of sad, because they took up all the
Poor
time.
Nate.
And yeah, I know, it was like the second year in a row, but I met some great people. It was my first conference, first big performance, and that will always be a part of me and my passion.
That's awesome. So
Thanks.
just a real quick take off of that thing, like that feeling that you're always chasing and doing all those sort of things. I
Mhm.
don't know if you feel this way, but this is kind of how I feel, just because, like you said, we love performing and being in front of people and doing all that sort of thing.
Mhm.
In many ways, I think when I'm charging for a wedding, I am charging you for all the prep leading up to it,
Yep.
the setup,
Yep.
the ceremony, the first part of the reception. I'm doing the performance for free
Oh, it's only
because that's that's
25%.
that's that's my payoff.
Yeah.
That's what I got to do. And
Oh,
then you're paying me for my cleanup, the thing. You're paying me for all that stuff. I'll do the performance for free.
Mhm.
You're paying me for everything else.
Mhm.
Because that's when I feel like you said, I you know me, I just let my hair down and I can just go out and rip a crowd and have a ton of fun and play to them and get them moving, get them grooving, having a
Mhm.
great time. Leave them wanting more at the end and being like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's the payoff for me. I mean, it kind of sounds like it is a little bit for you too. That I mean, we are very self-focused because we like to be the center of attention. Obviously, otherwise, why would we do this? But
True.
yeah, I mean,
It's
we're
an instant gratification. We all need that instant gratification, that dopamine hit.
oh
It's
yeah,
like it's I love it. It's the best, but then you keep chasing that, right? And it's like you got to make sure you
yeah,
stay focused on goals that don't have that instant gratification. That's at least where I struggle. But I
yeah,
mean,
for sure.
you're not wrong, dude. The way that I sell, actually, which is a method I learned from Brian B, who was my mentor for a while, was to explain that process, right? That administrative discovery, the meetings, and then the wedding. And the wedding is actually only 25% of everything that you do,
Yeah.
which most people
Hmm.
don't really think about.
No, that's that's the smallest portion of what we do for sure.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, absolutely. We just love that dopamine hit. Um, so what is it that keeps you coming back all these years, weekend after weekend, day after day? Doing the weddings and doing the things. So is it just that musical thing, or is there something deeper that kind of drives you and all that?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I guess you can kind of tell I do specialize in weddings, right? Like I did it backwards. By the time I went full time and was like talented, I was, in my opinion, not at a place where I wanted to do clubs a lot. It just wasn't healthy for me because I'll get
Yeah,
in Jess mode and I'll be like, let's rage, you know? That's just not something that seemed appealing to me where I was in my life. So, what
yeah,
keeps me coming back almost every weekend, you know, and traveling for it too, I think is the first word that comes into my mind, man, is variety. Variety, which
sure.
is in every facet of it, from the clients I work with, the vendors, the venues, the music and its evolution, the goals that I can set, you know, the new skills that we learn. There's so much room for expansion, so much room for activity that
Yeah,
it's like it's always exciting. So it's that, I think, mixed with the community that I've chosen to surround myself with, and they've chosen to spend their time with me. I think that community, people like you, man, like, oh, it's incredible. Connection. I have so many reasons. I'll just stop now.
no, that's okay. But I love that it's not just, oh, because of the pay. You know, a lot of people, oh well, it's the paycheck. You know, because for most people, their job, that's what keeps them there, is the paycheck.
I
It's not,
know.
I got a
Yeah.
drive and a passion to do it. I really want to do this. You know,
Yeah.
I know somebody very close to me that they're basically, they do their job because they're good at it and they
Mhm.
make decent money,
Mhm.
but they hate it.
I wish I could change that for the world, but I think some people need that, you know, just being where
Yeah.
we are, and I'm sure you feel that too, man.
Oh yeah.
It's because so much of your life is spent working, you know, and I hate that you have to spend time in that negative space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, that was me up until I started working at NLFX a year ago.
Yay.
I was working in the banking.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly like it,
Yeah.
but the pay was decent and I was good at it.
Yeah.
But I finally decided that, you know what, I hate this and I
Mhm.
don't want to do it anymore.
Good for you.
Because I did it for 13 years and I
Mhm.
was just, I can't do it
Mhm.
anymore. It's just
Yeah.
not fun.
I'm proud of
And
you.
so one day I was just like, nope, I'm done. And I walked away. And the not funny, but the good and the bad thing was, the bad part was I didn't have anything else lined up.
Mhm.
I mean, I was DJing and all that kind of stuff, but we always did our finances based on me not making any money DJing. We just lived
Or
off of this. And
yeah.
then, hey, the DJ money is extra.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so that was a big shift
Mhm.
that my wife, but as fate would have it, and I'm big into fate and things happen for a reason and all that sort of thing. I
Same.
mean, that's how I
Mhm.
met my wife and the whole thing.
Mhm.
We It was less than a month after I did that I got a call from Ben, and he reached out and said, hey, I have this opportunity, can we talk? And I was like, perfect.
Mhm.
So it was, I decided to leave that, and within a month I had this lined
Dude.
up. And like I tell the sales all the time, and it's, cliche and the whole thing. I don't feel like I work. It's just fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean,
yeah.
sometimes, but, you know, like maybe 5% of the
Oh
time,
yeah,
right? But
absolutely.
it's not
on
work. It's
on the fifth day of a conference, I'm exhausted. I'm just like, what the heck are we doing? Why am I still awake? But then I come back fresh on a Monday, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is great. Actually,
yeah.
this is so much
Yeah.
fun. So that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you're like that, and I do feel bad that more people don't get that, because like you
Yeah.
said, life is too short, and there's too many other things to do to hate what you do for a living.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Maybe we could put
yeah,
it out there. We're gonna change at least 10
yeah,
people.
we
10
want
people.
to, absolutely. You can do it. Just talk to Jess. She's way better at this than I am, I'm sure. So
I'll just
uh,
motivate you into change. Yeah.
absolutely,
With my
for
woo woo.
sure. So now we're gonna talk a little bit of the nerdy stuff, the nerdy situations and things like that. So you're out there DJing. What kind of equipment are you taking out on a weekly basis? So let's start with everybody's favorite non-personal topic, although it's extremely personal for most people. What kind of speakers are you rocking on a weekly basis?
The Evolve 50s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you heard the new 70s and 90s yet?
No, and every part of me, I need them because there are times I love them, but there are
You
times
want to be able to
when
go for it.
exactly when I push them, I need to watch it, redlining it, because I like my
Yep.
music loud. And I mean, I'm not saying I play it loud to the point where you're like, holy shit, listen to this DJ, but in the size of events I'm doing, the spaces, I need to make the trade for sure. But
So do you
yeah.
think you want to go with the 70s for the 15 or the 90s with the 18s?
I'd have to check the specs on the 15 versus the 18s first. I mean, because usually I do have an assistant, but I don't have that much
Okay.
muscle on me. So
They're
mobility.
not that bad, honestly. The
Okay.
18 so the 90s are about 98 pounds total, I think,
Holy
and that's
shit.
with the sub and the top.
Oh, okay.
The sub's about,
70
I
something.
want to say like 79 or between
Yeah.
79 and 81 pounds, something like that.
Ooh.
They're not light, but for an
Yeah.
18-inch sub, it's pretty light.
Yeah, no, I agree. I that is light because I used to have a it was what was it, a JBL? I don't even remember what number it
Oh,
was, what model, but oh, it was a beast. I would just have to make sure when I took these out that I always had somebody with me because I will break my
yeah,
arm.
yeah. They are they are pretty crazy good.
Yeah, I'd go for the
And
90s, dude, because why not go bigger? Because then you can always turn down, you know?
right, and that's always my thought. And when I was talking to people at Mex this last week,
Hmm.
that's like, well, what would you recommend? I was like, well, if you're gonna get one or the other, I'd get the 90s and you just turn
Yep.
it down.
Right.
You
Exactly.
can't. It's a lot harder to go louder than it is to go quieter. So,
Exactly. Yeah, I'd
um,
love to make the switch. And
so are you a black setup or a white setup?
right now I'm white. It
Sure.
seems to kind of fit my clients a little better right now.
Yeah.
I would like to have a black option for those decor aesthetics that it would match better. It just hasn't
Mhm.
been in the cards yet for me.
Yeah, I like having a black option, especially for like outdoor stuff.
Oh,
If
good
you're gonna do stuff
point.
outdoors, just
Yeah.
because it's a little easier to
Mhm.
not so worried about it getting dirty and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm
Uh,
like picturing that in my head right now where I would use that because there's some outdoor.
sure, yeah, and um, so we got the Evolve 50s. What do you got for a? Do you got just a facade, or do you have DJ furniture?
Yeah, I just got the Pro X is it the control tower? I think is what it's called, not the command
Command
center
tower?
because that's fun. What is command? Is it command?
I think it's
Yeah.
command tower.
Dude, when I bought it, I thought it was a bun booth. So I always get the
Okay.
big word. I did.
Well,
I
I
got it
mean,
off.
they very similar.
Yeah, I got it off a girl because I saw the CO and I was like, oh, it's a bun
Yeah.
booth. And I was like, control, command. But I got it off a DJ in New York and she was selling it at a good deal. And I had been wanting a table for a while. So I picked that
Sure.
up. I also do have a backdrop, which not a lot of DJs use. I learned
Hmm.
about that from Chris Atwood from SCE. And it
Sure.
has a matching facade that's like curved, it's concave like that, and
Hmm.
then you put the cloth over it, it's white with gold. And that's I've received a lot of great feedback from that. I love having the backdrop because then you can put something behind it too if you have the
Yeah,
space,
absolutely.
table
Hmm.
with your stuff, a table for the vendors. So
Hmm.
I use those two pieces consistently and I'll
Okay.
never go.
Awesome. That's great. What controller are you having in there?
Oh gosh, controllers. So I've been rocking the SX2, which is my baby
Okay.
forever. I have two of those, but in my wedding in January, I dumped a coffee on it, and so that's done. Yeah,
Uh oh.
it's fried. Fried. So I have one SX2 left that I'm using as my main, but I did just order the Rain Performer. So that's my new baby.
Nice.
I'm going to set that up in my practice room and jam on that for like 2.5, 3 months. And then the SX2 will become my backup and the Rain will
Sure.
become my main. That thing is heavy as a mofo, though. Like, I
Yes.
get it,
I think it's
but
30 pounds
oh,
roughly.
no, dude, it has to be more than that, and I'm gonna
I
throw it
I
away.
the
Is
only
it?
reason I say that somewhat confidently is because I thought I looked this up for somebody at Mex also.
Oh my god, really, I'm that weak. I'm gonna cry if that's the case. I thought it was, like, maybe like 51. Okay,
I,
you gonna
I I could be wrong. Hold on, guess as we both check our phones here real quick.
I know, we have to. Okay, but where it's always hard to find that part.
I know it
20,
is.
oh my god, no, no, Kyle.
29.
Yes.
It's okay.
Okay, no, that's good because that means I just got to get my ass to the gym and I'll be okay. So,
Just
'cause I
gotta do
feel
a few more. Just gotta do a few more curls with them Evolve 50s, and you'll be good.
okay.
So you're adding in the Rain Performer. So what made you decide to go with the Rain over anything else?
Yeah, good question. For a while now, I've been wanting bigger platters, and I also
Okay.
wanted to play on motorized platters too.
Sure.
So those
Yeah.
two pieces, and I usually stick to Pioneer. I've been a Pioneer girl, with the SX2, but I've just always felt drawn to that. And I played on the SZ, I played on the Rev 7, but for some reason, I just kept thinking I need to do the Rain. I need to do the Rain. So I just followed my gut and went that way.
Yeah. I think, and this, I'm not trying to disparage Pioneer or anything like that, but Rain's build quality is pretty insane. They're
Mhm.
built so well, and I like that everything's metal.
Mhm.
We played on it a lot at Mex. That was our main controller that we were using in the room
Okay.
to control all the music and everything. So
Yeah.
I got to play around with that quite a bit, and it's a heck of a thing. And I'm honestly considering changing it for myself. I
Wow.
currently use so I have two different booths. I have a Danny Max booth,
Nice.
in which I have an SZ,
Yeah.
and then I also have a Toad booth that
Mhm.
I have an XDJ XZ. So
Yeah, I've played on both,
uh,
yeah.
so I have the XZ, but I don't ever play it with just internal music. I always use it with a laptop. I don't use it to its full functionality, all the stuff that it can do.
Mhm.
I just wanted something with a big presence because it's a 65-inch TV booth, so I wanted
True.
something substantial. And
Yeah.
the range's pretty big, and it's all that. It'd be smaller than the XZ, but
Mhm.
so I'm thinking about making the switch to that as my main
Mhm.
anyway. But
Mhm.
like you, would have to get it, play with it, get a lot better with it.
Yeah, and
All
you
that.
have access to that, so you can
I
mess
do.
around
I'm
with
lucky. I'm lucky that I do
that.
have access to things.
That's nice.
Um, it is. It is a very big perk of the job. That is for sure. So,
Cool.
um, but I think that's a great. I think that's a great choice. Obviously, the SX2 is iconic. So many people, that was their first one, and they used it for so long. My
Yeah.
friend Jesse, I think he still has a couple of DJs that use them also.
I love it. I
Um,
had a whole
so
ceremony for it after I dumped the coffee. I put on Boys to Men, End of the Road, and just kind of hugged it.
I thought maybe like a Sarah McLachlan, in the arms of
Oh,
an
that's
angel
my
or whatever.
shit. Listen, I love Sarah McLachlan. Don't tell anybody. If you're
Okay,
listening,
no,
don't
it's
tell
it's
anybody.
okay. I still listen. I still listen to Nickelback, even though you're not supposed to. So
They're making a comeback. Just wait for it.
hey, there's nothing wrong with a Nickelback comeback. That's all I'm saying. All right, so we got that. So do you run to an external mixer, or do you run everything internal off of your XZ? Or sorry, your
Internal.
SX? Okay.
SX, yeah, it's internal, but I would like to change that. I just need to sit down with some of my production friends and have them, let me know what to do. And I know it's not hard, but I just like to conference on
Yeah.
that type of stuff. So
No, that's okay. Hey,
yeah,
you got somebody right here who has a hookup
yes.
for pricing and knows a thing or two about setting all those things up. So
All right, here we
if you need
go. That's
help,
why
let me
we're
know.
connected. Yeah,
Absolutely, for
I
sure.
love that. I would
And you
love
get great prices at nlfx.com, nlfxpro.com actually. But
that.
so we have all that, and so you're running all that. So what are we doing for lighting?
Oh gosh, lighting. I've never been drawn to lighting. I most recently realized its impact on the dance floor. I've always known,
Yeah.
but I was just like, yeah, let's go simple. So Chave Gig Bar, which works, it's fine. The one in white, but I don't know. I like a different look nowadays. So
Mm-hmm.
I also have movers on gravity stands. That's my
Yeah.
preference.
Great option.
Honestly, and then I use the H1s, the Chave H1s. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're called, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
my brain. I use the Chave H1s and I position those at my table and I put them on my speaker. I love those little guys. But I did just purchase, and I believe I think it was from Both Lighting. I know you guys are like all wonderful companies, and I just kind of go wherever the link that's sent to me. I did get some uplights from them that I would like to transition to using that as my dance lights, get rid of the Chave Gig Bar. Yeah, lighting is something that has been on my to-do list for a while to build. And then
Yeah.
I enjoy bringing in somebody to set that up, to use their brain creatively with how to put lighting. Mine doesn't work naturally like
Yeah.
that. I've tried.
Mm-hmm.
So I hire my people to come in and do that for me because it does have an impact on the dance
Yeah,
floor.
I think uplighting is one of the biggest impacts you can do on
Oh my
any
gosh.
sort of venue and things like that. So that's one thing that I push. And actually,
Yeah.
um, again, my friend Jesse,
Yeah.
it's something that
Jesse.
we kind of realize is so big that in the packages that we do,
Mm-hmm.
that's included in our base price because
Oh,
I
hell
want to
yeah.
bring that out every single time.
That's so smart. That's how you're supposed to do it. What is part of your
Yeah,
brand? What do you need to do your best work?
yeah.
Yep.
I want to transform your space, and I want to make the whole room part of the experience. So
Yeah.
I just make it as part of my thing. And now there are some venues around where I am that have their own downlighting and all that kind of stuff that is included in
Mm-hmm.
the venue price. So then
Yeah.
I give people the option, hey, do you want to add like cold sparks or something like that to kind of make up for the difference? But
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
So no,
another
I
type
think
of
those are
light.
all
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, that's okay. I like I said, I think that lighting sometimes is something that DJs don't spend enough time on
Yeah.
and
I agree.
understanding. Yeah, how much it can change, and luckily I found that out kind of early, and I don't know. Again, I've said this on here how many times, but I I'm very basic with my lighting. I do uplighting, and then I do just some Wash FX hexes,
Mm-hmm.
just to wash the ceiling.
Yep.
And those things are so bright that it kind of just fills the room with light. Um, and that's really all I use because I don't
Oh.
because you can't use the atmospherics. So I don't think that movers look as good without atmospherics. Like if I can have atmospherics, they're great, but just to
Oh.
just beams floating across the thing in people's eyes, it's not my thing, and so I just
Okay.
kind of have never really done it.
We need to talk more
Um,
about this.
that's okay, and that's the thing. It's all about getting people to think about what they're doing with their own setups. So
Yeah, I would say next year is going to be the year that I really lifted off with elevating my lighting game.
yeah,
Yeah, there's so I was just actually talking on the Pittsburgh DJ Summit, which is the conference I help with, on their Instagram, because there was lights that
hmm
we had on in production. And I freaking love them, man. They're called the Portman P1 Mini Retro lamps. Do you know those?
oh, I've heard of them. Yeah,
Oh, they're fantastic. They almost look like a flower.
yeah,
I would love to get more into that and possibly work that in. I think I first noticed them on like a Grammy stage or something. Like
yeah,
that's when I first was like, whoa, what are those? But
yeah. I
that would
think
be cool.
actually, I saw it. Nam 80J is coming out with something very similar.
Okay.
And it should be at a better price point than those other ones because those Portman ones, from what I know, are not cheap.
Yeah, man. Makes sense.
Um, but I think 80J again, they might not be as good as the Portman ones.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure because I haven't used the Portman ones, so I can't speak directly to that.
Understandable.
But they are coming out with something very similar this year
Oh,
that they
cool.
showed us at NAM. So
Okay.
be on the lookout for that if that's a look that you're going for.
It
So
totally is. Yeah.
absolutely. Um, so I really appreciate you giving us all your time. The last thing I just kind of want to, we kind of always talk to everybody out is, so how did you first learn about NLFX and how did you kind of get involved with NLFX and all that sort of thing over the years?
I would say, I mean, definitely conferences, from going
Yep.
to Mobile Beach. I haven't been to Mex yet, Midwest, Atlantic City. But to be honest, it's because Facebook, everyone's always dropping your name,
Yep.
talking about you guys. My buddy Bill Jacob, it rides hard for you. So he always tells me, Jess, you got to check NLFX. You got to check them. So I think it's word of mouth because of the good work you guys do.
Well, we really appreciate that. And that's kind of what we want is, I say this all the time, but we don't necessarily just want customers. We want fans, people who
Yep.
want to come and deal with us and we can show that different level of service that we can offer and all those different things. So,
Yeah.
we're never going to say that we can always have the best price, but what we will always strive to do is to have the best service. And so, you know, if you have any sort of thing that you need, don't hesitate to reach out and, we'll get
Definitely.
you a quote. We can usually get pretty close to what everybody else can do. So,
Okay. Oh, I'm doing
um,
that. I've always stuck to Sweetwater because it's what my dad used. And like
sure.
Bill always yells at me. I was like, but it's nostalgic. And he's like, no, you need to call Kyle. And I'm like, okay, now that we've met and I have a connection,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna just have to say goodbye to those little pieces of candy they send me. Um,
Hey, if that's what it takes, I can make sure that our shipping department picks up some Reese's or whatever your favorite
okay.
is, and we can get them sent out. That's not a problem.
Milky Way
Absolutely.
Dark, baby.
Milky Way Dark. Okay.
Milky Way Dark, man. No, this
Well,
is
I
awesome.
too am a big Milky Way fan, so we do have quite a bit in common. I'm not the dark, but I am a big Milky Way fan.
Freaking love them.
So
I'll eat one right now.
absolutely.
No, I'm here for it though. This connection has been established, and now you're my go-to. So
Absolutely. Well, I
yeah.
greatly appreciate that. And what we like to, and again, there's nothing wrong with, sweet waters or anything like that. Everybody else is doing what they can do and all that. But
what
I
I
think the biggest thing that kind of sets us apart is whoever you might talk to over at Sweetwater and all that sort of thing. They get paid to sell you something, and they make money based on what you buy.
Sure.
I don't.
Oh, damn.
And nobody at NLFX does. We actually have no dedicated salespeople. We have people who work in customer service, and we have, like myself, I'm the business development manager. I don't actually technically, I'm not in sales, but all of us sell because that's just what we do. And whether you spend $15 or $15,000, I make the same paycheck at the end of the day.
I didn't know that. That's
so we have no incentive to sell you something you don't need.
You have no hidden agenda.
No.
Yeah, and
I'm not saying that everybody there is trying to sell you something that you don't need. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
what I am saying is, if you come to them with two different things and they can make $500 if they sell you this, or $100 if they sell you this, they might push you towards this one.
That's good to know. And then you just decide yourself, like, what type of relationship and business structure you want to work with. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for teaching me that. That's the third thing you taught me. See, I told you things come in threes. We got the ships.
Absolutely, for sure.
We got ships, Sweetwater, and I forget the other thing now. Damn it.
Oh no, you forgot already?
I know. That's just me.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, Jess, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I wish you all the continued success. You're an awesome person, and I'm so glad that we finally got to meet and talk officially.
Yeah, me too.
Do you want to plug any of your Instagram or anything like that on here?
You know it.
Absolutely.
Instagram. Yeah, at DJ Jess 412. Thank you for asking. I'm obsessed with Instagram. It's almost unhealthy. So yeah, follow me on there, DJ Jess 412. That's the Pittsburgh area code.
412. Awesome, Jess. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Please, everybody, go out and give her a follow. And thanks again for being on. And I hope to talk to you again real soon. Okay.
All right, man. Thank you for having me. Bye.
All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.